71-year-old Jackie Chan is back in a new film. This time, he's transformed into a white-haired master, traveling to America with his apprentice. Jackie Chan runs a martial arts gym in Beijing, and his most skilled apprentice is named Li Feng. One day, Li Feng's mother approached Jackie Chan and told him she was moving to the United States with her son. Although reluctant, Li Feng followed his mother to New York. He struggled with the new environment, as Asians were not welcome there. However, Mia, working at a pizza parlor, was very welcoming, and the two quickly became engaged in a lively conversation. However, this also led to trouble. One day, Li Feng and Mia were riding the subway home when a few thugs suddenly approached. Knowing they were tough, Mia grabbed Li Feng and tried to leave, but the thugs punched him in the face. The thugs were named Kang Na, a 3-time karate champion who had been trying to make Mia her girlfriend and had been harassing her regularly. Back at the pizza parlor, Mia's father treated Li Feng's facial wounds, explaining that he too had been a boxer in his youth, but retired because of Mia. The next day, as Li Feng was leaving the classroom, he was blocked by Kang Na at the school gate. Initially, he ignored her, but she kept provoking him. Unable to tolerate any more, he rushed over and engaged in a fight. Unexpectedly, Kang Na's martial arts skills were superior. With knives in her hands, she beat Li Feng with her kicks, leaving him defenseless and completely undeterred. Fortunately, the teacher arrived in time to stop the fight. Dejected, Li Feng walked home when he saw advertisements for a fighting tournament plastered on the wall, with Kang Na as the previous champion. That evening, several strong men arrived at the pizza parlor. Mia's father owed them a large sum of money, and to teach him a lesson, one of the men beat him to the ground with a stick. Seeing this, Li Feng rushed forward. While he couldn't defeat Kana, he was more than capable of dealing with these petty thieves. In a blink of an eye, he had all 3 men lying on the ground, forcing them to flee in disgrace. Mia's father, amazed by Chinese Kung Fu, wanted Li Feng to teach him a few moves, as winning this year's fighting tournament would clear all his debts. Unsure of how to respond, Li Feng called his master, Jackie Chan, and told him about the situation. "Master, I've got a new friend here who wants me to teach him some Kung Fu." Helping others is always a good thing. The next day, Li Feng approached Mia's father and offered to teach him Chinese Kung Fu. Mark's heart was instantly filled with joy. He immediately closed his pizza shop and began training with Li Feng. With his martial arts background, Mark quickly mastered the art of the Kun Quan technique. Under Li Feng's meticulous coaching, his fighting prowess improved dramatically, and the relationship between Li Feng and Mia gradually blossomed. Connor, passing by, was enraged. Late that night, Li Feng pounded the punching bag furiously, seemingly venting his anger. Mark, who was heading home, witnessed the scene. Li Feng explained that he couldn't sleep because the image of his brother's tragic death had been recurring in his mind. 3 years earlier, his brother had won the national championship, but the defeated opponent, unable to accept the loss, had recruited several thugs for revenge. Li Feng had watched his brother die before his eyes, and from then on, he was consumed by self-blame. Helping Mark win the match was his greatest wish. The two could be seen diligently training everywhere in New York. Time flew by, and soon, the day of the match arrived. The bearded man sitting in the audience was Mark's creditor, and the referee rang the bell for the match. The battle between the 2 men had just begun. Mark swiftly maneuvered around the ring, his punches overwhelming his opponent. A flurry of attacks sent him into a corner, nearly ending the fight in the first round. Seeing his fighter losing ground, the bearded man in the audience exchanged glances, then delivered an elbow to Mark's head, followed by a frenzied barrage of blows. Watching Mark collapse, Li Feng's mind replayed the image of his brother's murder. Mark was immediately rushed to the emergency room. Mia urged Li Feng to help, but his feet felt like they were stuck in his throat, and he stood there, refusing to take a single step. Upon learning that Mark's injuries were caused by her son, his mother, a doctor, berated him. Returning home, Li Feng tore down all the posters on his wall and dumped all his Kung Fu-related items into a closet. Fear had completely overwhelmed him, and he even refused to answer his master's phone calls. He walked alone amid the crowds, his lonely back like a leaf poised to be blown away. As soon as Li Feng walked into the house in the evening, he found something wrong. Realizing that someone had broken in, he immediately became alert. Suddenly, a man in black rushed out and wrestled with him. The man's movements were clean and neat, and he only hit the vital parts. Li Feng was beaten so badly that he could only run around in the house and was finally forced into a corner. Li Feng's mother had just returned from get-off work, and Jackie Chan immediately explained his purpose. It turned out he was worried about his beloved apprentice's safety, which had led him all the way from Beijing to New York. The next morning, Jackie Chan took Li Feng to the hospital. Although Mark was fine, Li Feng felt deeply guilty, not knowing that Mark had never blamed him. Jackie Chan then spoke. He pulled a crumpled poster from his pocket. It showed an annual karate tournament, with a lucrative prize for the winner. He had even traveled to Japan to visit his late friend, Mr. Engineer. His apprentice, LaRusso, was a renowned karate master. Jackie Chan hoped he could teach Li Feng martial arts alongside him, believing his combination of Chinese kung fu and karate would be enough to help Li Feng win the tournament. Upon returning to New York, Jackie Chan immediately began a brutal training session with Li Feng, taking him to practice pounding wooden stakes every morning at 5 a.m. This seemingly tedious exercise was actually the most effective way to improve his basic skills. When his mother learned of this, Jackie Chan expressed displeasure. He explained that he wasn't teaching Li Feng kung fu for fighting, but to cultivate a spirit of never giving up. Meanwhile, Connor was training tirelessly, convinced that absolute strength was everything. Furthermore, as a 3-time fighting champion, he was extremely confident in this match. Since the addition of LaRusso, Li Feng's progress has been lightning fast. The combination of the hardness and softness of Chinese kung fu and the swiftness and fierceness of karate has given Li Feng an even greater advantage. One day, Mia approached Li Feng, urging him not to risk his life for their family. Li Feng, however, explained that he was fighting for himself. He had always hidden behind his brother, but now he faced the challenge head-on. The day of the match soon arrived. His opponent, with his Asian features, looked at him with disdain. However, Li Feng's entrance was like a tiger descending from a mountain. His lightning-fast moves were unstoppable, and he defeated the opponent in a single round. In the ensuing match, Li Feng swept through the competition with unstoppable force, knocking every opponent to the ground, and ultimately advancing to the finals. However, a disagreement arose between the two masters. LaRusso believed that Connor's punches and kicks were powerful, and that they should wait for his opponent to show weakness before attacking. Jackie Chan, however, believed that offense was the best defense, leading to a heated argument. This led Li Feng to recall his previous clash with Connor, where he had used a dragon tail swing, only to be easily countered. LaRusso, upon hearing this, had an idea: use the dragon tail swing as bait and catch him off guard. The two masters then practiced the dragon tail swing with Li Feng daily, and after repeated attempts, he finally cleared the barrier. On the day of the finals, Li Feng met his mother. Her eyes, no longer stern, encouraged him to fight for his dream, with the blessing of his family. Li Feng's confidence surged, carrying the hopes of his mother and two masters. He stepped onto the ring under the watchful eyes of the crowd. The enemies were extremely jealous of each other when they met. With the referee's order, the two immediately started fighting. Faced with the enemy's lightning-fast attack, Li Feng was confused for a while and could only passively take the beating in the ring. The score soon became 4-0. Li Feng knew that if he continued like this, he would soon be defeated, so he stopped defending and took the initiative to attack. Every move went straight to Connor's vital points, and the score was tied in just one round, but before he could be happy, Connor jumped up and kicked him in the back of the head. His eyes went black, and he fell heavily to the ground. The referee immediately started the countdown when he saw this. In a trance, Li Feng saw his brother's figure, so he relied on his strong will to stubbornly get up at the last moment. At this time, the score between the two sides was 7-7. The crucial round that decided the outcome came next. Li Feng initiated the attack, and Connor instantly spotted the flaw. He expected a similar kick to the last time, but unaware it was a trap set by Li Feng, he seized the opportunity and sent him reeling, ultimately winning the match. However, to everyone's surprise, Connor, unable to accept defeat, launched a surprise attack. Li Feng threw Connor to the ground with an overhead throw, but his anger didn't overwhelm him. Li Feng eventually dropped his fist and pulled Connor to his feet, for his master had taught him that the most important thing for a martial artist is to uphold the moral integrity of his opponent, and that earning the respect of his opponent is just as important as winning.